What if I told you that Karl Anthony Towns, one of the most skilled big men in today's NBA, wasn't even ranked as the top player in his class? That's right. In 2014, there were 8 high school players ranked ahead of him, each hyped to be the next big thing in basketball. Fast forward to today, and Towns is an NBA All-Star, a franchise cornerstone, and one of the best shooting big men in league history. But what about the other 8? Some lived up to expectations, some completely faded away, and others took paths nobody could have predicted. From NBA busts to international journeymen, from hidden gems to forgotten talents, this is what really happened to the 8 recruits ahead of Karl Anthony Towns. Stay tuned, because some of these names will shock you. In 2014, Jahlil Okafor was the guy, the best high school player in the country. A 6-foot 11-inch post-scoring machine with footwork straight out of a Tim Duncan highlight reel, he was supposed to be the future of the center position. At Duke, he didn't disappoint. Okafor averaged 17.3 points, 8.5 rebounds, and led the Blue Devils to a national championship in 2015. The Philadelphia 76ers drafted him 3rd overall, and as a rookie, he put up 17.5 PPG. It looked like the hype was real. But the NBA was changing fast. Big men were now expected to stretch the floor, switch on defense, and shoot threes. Okafor didn't do any of that. His lack of mobility and defense made him unplayable in modern lineups, and within a few seasons, he was bouncing between teams struggling for minutes. After stints with the Nets, Pelicans, and Pistons, the league moved on. Okafor took his game overseas, playing in China and the G League, determined to prove he still belonged. In 2024, he made waves in the G League Winter Showcase, averaging 22 points and 9 rebounds, which earned him a 10-day contract with the Indiana Pacers in February 2025. Will he stick in the NBA? That's still a question. But one thing's for sure, he's not done fighting. Talent gets you there, but adaptability keeps you there. Okafor learned that the hard way. Miles Turner wasn't the flashiest name in his class, but he was one of the smartest bets. A 7-foot rim protector ranked number 2 in the 2014 class, Turner had elite shot-blocking instincts, but a raw offensive game. In Texas, he averaged 10.1 points, 6.5 rebounds, and 2.6 blocks in limited minutes, showcasing glimpses of a defensive anchor. The Indiana Pacers drafted him 11th overall in 2015, and from day one, he proved he belonged. Turner quickly became one of the league's best shot blockers, leading the NBA in blocks per game in 2019 and 2021. But what truly extended his career? He stretched his game. While other traditional big men faded, Turner developed a 3-point shot, becoming a rare blend of elite rim protection and floor spacing. At number 3, we have Cliff Alexander. Standing 6 foot 9 inches with elite athleticism, he dominated the paint, throwing down powerful dunks and swatting shots into the stands, earning comparisons to Amare Stoudemire. Many saw him as a future NBA star. But once he got to Kansas, everything changed. He struggled to adjust to the college game, putting up just 7.1 points and 5.3 rebounds per game, far from the dominance scouts expected. Then came the real blow. An NCAA investigation ruled him ineligible before the season ended, crushing his draft stock. Projected as a lottery pick, Alexander went undrafted in 2015. He signed with the Portland Trail Blazers, but played just 8 NBA games before bouncing between the G League and overseas. Once seen as unstoppable, Alexander's career fizzled out before it even began. Unlike some of his peers, Tyrus Jones was never the most athletic, tallest, or strongest. But what he had was elite basketball IQ and a knack for clutch performances. At Duke, he led the team to a national championship and won the Final Four Most Outstanding Player award. Yet, NBA teams were hesitant. At 6 feet 1 inches, he was not an explosive athlete. Jones fell to the 24th pick in the draft, selected by Minnesota. But Jones worked his way up. He became one of the NBA's most reliable backup point guards, known for his low turnover rate and steady leadership. After successful stints with the Timberwolves, Grizzlies, and now the Wizards, Jones has built a solid and respectable NBA career. Emmanuel Mudiay is at number 5. He had all the makings of a franchise point guard. Scouts compared him to John Wall and Russell Westbrook, believing he could lead an NBA offense with his explosive playmaking. But instead of playing in college, Mudiay made a bold gamble. He turned down an offer from SMU and took a $1.2 million deal to play in China, hoping to prepare for the NBA faster. It backfired. While the money was great, the Chinese Basketball Association didn't challenge him in the ways he needed. His biggest weaknesses, shooting, decision-making, and defense, remained underdeveloped. Despite that, the Denver Nuggets still believed in his upside, drafting him 7th overall in 2015. At first, he flashed promise, jaw-dropping dunks, flashy assists, and big scoring nights. But his flaws quickly caught up to him. His jump shot never improved, turnovers piled up, and his defense was unreliable. Teams grew impatient. Moutier bounced from Denver to New York, then Utah, but the opportunities faded, and eventually, teams stopped calling. Number 7 on the list, it's Trey Lyles. Trey never had the hype of some of his classmates. He wasn't a high-flying dunker or a dominant scorer, but he was skilled, versatile, and basketball smart, the kind of player coaches love. At Kentucky, he played alongside Karl Anthony Towns, Devin Booker, and Willie Cauley-Stein in one of the most stacked lineups in college basketball. Lyles wasn't a star, but he was a glue guy, a player who did the little things right, hit shots, played solid defense, and made winning plays. The Utah Jazz drafted him 12th overall in 2015, hoping he could develop into a key piece. But Lyles never became a star. Instead, he carved out a role as a steady, reliable stretch 4, bouncing between Utah, Denver, San Antonio, and Sacramento. He never made an all-star team, never became the face of a franchise, but he did something just as impressive. He lasted. In a league where careers end in the blink of an eye, Lyles proved that consistency and adaptability can be just as valuable as stardom. Stanley Johnson had all the tools to be a star. 6'6", built like a tank, strong, athletic, and a tenacious defender. Scouts raved about his potential, drawing comparisons to Kawhi Leonard, believing he could be the next great two-way wing. At Arizona, he showed flashes of brilliance. He played with intensity, locked down opponents, and had moments where he looked like a future NBA star. But one big question followed him: could he shoot? The Denver Pistons drafted him 8th overall in 2015, betting that his offense would develop over time. But it never really did. While his defense remained solid, his shooting and offensive consistency never caught up. He struggled to create his own shot, lacked a reliable jumper, and never became the go-to scorer Detroit hoped for. The NBA doesn't wait. As the league evolved into a shooter's game, Johnson found himself bouncing from Detroit to New Orleans, then to Toronto, San Antonio, and Los Angeles, each time fighting for a role. To his credit, he never stopped grinding. He remains in the NBA, battling for minutes as a defensive specialist, but the Kawhi Leonard comparisons are long gone. Last on our list, Justin Jackson looked like a prototypical NBA wing. 6'8", long, high IQ, and a smooth shooter. Though not an explosive athlete, his polished scoring ability made him one of college basketball's best players. At North Carolina, he was a star, leading the Tar Heels to a 2017 national championship and winning ACC Player of the Year. His fluid shooting and ability to move without the ball made him an attractive prospect, and the Sacramento Kings took him 15th overall in the draft. But in the NBA, good isn't always good enough. His shooting, which was supposed to be his biggest weapon, was never consistent enough to keep him on the floor. And without elite athleticism or defensive versatility, he struggled to find a long-term role. Out of all these players, Karl Anthony Towns is the only one who became a true NBA superstar. What set him apart? Versatility, adaptability, work ethic. While others faded, he expanded his game. While others stayed the same, he pushed himself into NBA superstardom. Maybe that's the real lesson. Talent gets you ranked, but hard work keeps you there. Were you surprised by how these careers turned out? Drop a comment below and let us know. And if you enjoyed this, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more basketball breakdowns. See you next time.